For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Rakesh Kaul sir, and he is the author of three books, following by The Last Queen of Kashmir, and after that, Dawn, the Warrior Princess of Kashmir, and the last one is The Last Queen of Kashmir, Kota Rani. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on our show. We are highly grateful कि आपने फिर से हमें चुना और आप फिर से हमारे पॉडकास्ट में.
I'm delighted to be here, Gaurav. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. So I would like to acknowledge my audience that जिन्होंने भी सर का पहला पॉडकास्ट नहीं सुना है वो जाके देख सकता है. It was quite our earlier days when sir have given us this golden opportunity to record the podcast. So we won't be going that deep in his history or in his past life, but definitely we will be doing some of the questions from there as well. So, sir, like before we get into the podcast and know much more about your books, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you, and do share like how you started that writing journey as well.
I mean, my beginning was no different. जैसे आपके listeners हैं, वैसे ही मेरी बचपन था. But I lived in two cities, Delhi and Srinagar. Delhi में I led a life, flying kites, playing with marbles, gulli danda, sleeping on the rooftop during summer, staring at the stars, normal childhood. Srinagar जब हम हर साल जाते थे, वहाँ पे we would rent a small canoe, backwaters में जाते थे, वहाँ पे mulberry, शहतूत, strawberry खाते थे. तो बचपन थोड़ा बहुत मजेदार था. But in between, I was studying very hard. I was going to Delhi Public School, then I went to IIT Delhi. I was studying hard. And then I came to the US, and so पढ़ने का लिखने का बहुत शौक था. I used to be editor of my college magazine and IIT Delhi, also in TPS. तो उन छोटी छोटी असाइनमेंट में ही मुझे लिखने का काफी पैशन था, and that's how you begin.
So, sir, like when it comes to writing these books, like all the three books, revolve around the Queen of Kashmir, right? So, like, what's your inspiration behind writing? Like, going to Kashmir and listening to those stories from your, parents, ancestors, were the thing that, was kept behind you or kept with you? Or like, what was the inspiration behind writing this?
See, Kashmir is described as the birthplace of stories. और अगर आप देखेंगे, पंचतंत्र कश्मीर में लिखी गई थी, पंडित विष्णु शर्मा ने लिखी थी. फिर उसके बाद कथा सरित सागर, सोमादेवा, वो भी कश्मीर में लिखी गई थी. जो ये शब्द है साहित्य, literature, that was coined in Kashmir. So Kashmir has had a long tradition of story writing and storytelling. Then on top of that, Kashmir was also described as Stri Desh. Stri Desh means the land where women ruled. There were more queens who ruled Kashmir as sovereigns, not because they were married to a king, but as sovereigns, than in any other place of earth. So Kashmir की जो रानियां थीं, they are a very fascinating reflection of the culture. They are great role models for young women today because they were very independent. Kota Rani is described as ever captivating, but never captive. Very beautiful, but very independent. So, जो Dawn had, Dawn is a totally different character. Dawn is a very interesting character. While Kota is synonymous with a spirit of resistance. ये आपके जो viewers हैं, जो podcast को सुन रहे हैं, they'll find it fascinating that जब आप ऋग्वेदा पढ़ेंगे, ऋग्वेदा में you won't see any mention of Durga or Kali or any other Shaktis. But Usha is mentioned more often than any other feminine energy. Usha is dawn. So we'll talk a little bit more about it later in the podcast. But I thought that was fascinating. Why is it that the ancient Indians saw something magical about Usha, that in the Rig Veda she's mentioned more often than anybody else? And this is a very modern story of Usha or Dawn, who is described as the light of light and the death of death. ये बहुत powerful figure है. तो ये दो protagonists हैं जिनके ऊपर मैंने लिखा.
Sir, like when it comes to from an older reader's perspective, like जिन्होंने आपकी तीनों books पढ़ ली हैं and they're definitely waiting for something new to read. So what they can expect from you? Like, you want to experiment a bit on some other genres, or you want to stick to these only? Like, is there anything upcoming in the pipeline? Like, what's there?
Always something new. When I write, I take my readers on a new journey. And so Kota Rani ki jo kahani hai, it begins in Sharda Peeth University. Sharda Peeth University, one of the most famous universities of India, reached its peak around the 6th to 8th century. It's now, unfortunately, in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, in Neelam, Kishanganga Valley. But dawn starts with Mount Kailash. Dawn is at Mount Kailash. And one thing my readers can feel good about is whatever I write about is experiential. Experiential meaning I have actually gone to that place, I've experienced it, and so I'm able to write in a very authentic way. So, to a degree possible. So, anything I write, readers can expect that they'll be embarking on a new journey. Yes. And my third book, hopefully when it comes out, will be a very different journey also.
Yeah. So, sir, when was the first time your book was published? Like, in which year?
The first one was published in 2016, I think. Yeah.
2016. Okay. So it's almost like, sir, 6 years completed now. So. Yeah. From you, how this book industry has treated you, how has been this journey of 6 years? Like, how will you like to sum it up?
So, the industry is really only a means to an end, which is to connect with the reader community. And the readers have been very generous. Both books have become bestsellers. Both have been critically acclaimed. जो पहली किताब है लास्ट में कश्मीर, उसकी हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन भी अब निकल गई है. It has been published so that the heartland of India can read the story of the great queen. And today, Gaurav, I am very delighted to announce to you and your viewers that starting today, my publisher has also launched, starting today, the audio version of the book. So you can listen to the story in your car or wherever. You don't even have to read it. You can just listen to the car and listen to the story. So all translations are in the work. Dawn also is doing well. And, it's very different kind of writing. It's writing that people enjoy a lot. It leaves them feeling very empowered. So yeah, you should basically view the industry as only a means to connect. जैसे दरिया, the river tries to reach the ocean, the author tries to reach the readers. In between, there will be rocks, there will be waterfalls. वो सब चलता है, सफर चलता है. उसको author should be persistent and just keep their
go with the
conviction.
flow.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, heartiest congratulations, sir, for the launching of the audiobook.
Yes,
I
today.
guess, audiobook is something which is going to be the next thing when it comes to this book industry, because the podcast has taken place, lots of story tells and all those things are going on. So audiobooks are going to be a new big thing, what I feel.
Yeah, because people can listen to it on their apps, iOS app पे, Apple phone या Android पे, Google Store में download कर लो और अपने phone से सुन करो. It's just very nice, very convenient.
So, sir, like as we feel, or as I personally feel that after the first lockdown was over, the numbers of author got increased very rapidly. Like there was a boom in this writing industry. And what I personally feel that there are lots of people have published their work who haven't read anything as well, because the quality of their work, or when you see it, then definitely it's gonna be the first impression what you will feel. So when it comes to you, like how do you see this industry? Like a sort of neck-to-neck competition is there, sorting out or standing out your book in this crowded market is quite tough as of now? Or you see it as a creative field that in a creative field there's no competition, everyone is enjoying their own journey. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, content will increase, and my recommendation to anybody who's listening to this call, if you want to write and you want to be a storyteller, then you should think and act like your grandmother. In fact, the last Queen of Kashmir starts with the grandmother telling her story to her granddaughter. Just be like your grandmother. Now, why does the grandmother tell the story? A grandmother, why did Shivaji's mother tell him stories when he was a child? Chhatrapati Shivaji. You tell stories because you want to share something that you think will be entertaining and empowering to your loved ones, to your immediate circle, to people who care. And if the story, for whatever reason, travels and a broader audience comes along, fine. But think small. Most authors, they set themselves up for failure. They say, I want to have 1 million readers. Well, that's the industry's goal. They are looking at it from a business point of view. But if you tell a story and there are people who appreciate the story, that's great. Be happy you're creating something. And don't approach writing from the viewpoint of commerce. Because if you approach writing from the viewpoint of commerce, then you are setting yourself up for a lot of frustration. But if you approach writing as a source of creative fulfillment and joy, then none of the competition matters, right? देखिए, हमारे पुराने जो great storytellers थे, उनकी कितनी किताबें बिकती थी? कुछ नहीं बिकती थी, but they wrote great story. पंचतंत्र जब विष्णु शर्मा ने लिखा, how many copies did he sell? Very few. And Ramayana, I call myself, somebody tells me, how do you describe yourself? And I say, I'm a Granthaka who tells ancient stories. तो वो जो आप पुराने दिनों में वो Granthaka होते थे, Gaurav, they would travel from village to village. And in the evening, when the farmers and their families had finished work, the Granthaka would sit under a tree. उस समय थोड़ी ठंडी होती थी, हवा चल रही होती थी. वो आते थे और वो उनकी रामायण की कहानी बताता था, महाभारत की कहानी बताता था, उसके पास मिलता क्या था? वो कुछ थोड़ा उसको खाना दे देते थे, बस खत्म बात, सब सो जाते थे. So that's what a storyteller is. A storyteller has, by definition, don't set yourself up for failure. Write a great story, tell a great story, empower the circle that you have. Some people will have bigger circles, some will have smaller circles. Who cares? In the garden of life, there are many flowers. Every flower is beautiful. Every flower is beautiful.
So, sir, like, do you have any particular writing schedule as of now? Like, do you follow any writing schedule, or it's like random? कभी कोई thought आया तो कहीं phone पे कहीं diary पे लिख ले, फिर बाद में बैठ के लिख. How does it go with you?
So it really is. Writing for me is a hobby. I have other interests, so obviously my time varies depending on other priorities. But it also flows with the story. Sometimes the story is in such a phase that I forget the world and I'm just immersed in the story, and I have to write that piece because you are in the flow. Yes, so it fluctuates. It goes up and goes down.
And sir, like if we can go back to the time like when your first book was about to get published. So before that eve, like when you heard the message, okay, tomorrow the book will be published. So today, on that eve, what was your feeling? Like, how were you feeling at that time? Were you stressed, relaxed, excited, or have you marked up some milestones for yourself? Okay, these many people know me. My book has to be sold out these many copies. Like, what was going on in your mind at that time?
So again, I have never written for commercial reasons. Never. Couldn't care less about that. But yes, when you are about to launch your book, it's a little bit like childbirth, right? I mean, you conceive, you carry this story within you, and then eventually you birth it. And, there's some pain, but then there is great joy that you birthed something. And that joy, just like giving birth to a child, is shared by your near and dear ones. Everybody's excited, right? For you. Everybody around you is excited. So it's a time of great joy, great celebration. And I again stress the fact that do not, when you publish your story or the day of publishing, do not worry about how many copies will sell or whatever. Yes, pay some attention to the reviews that you get. Yeah, pay some attention. See how readers reacted. Feedback is always good because it will help you become a better author next time. But don't worry about the commerce. Do not ever sell your art, commercialize your art.
As of now, what are the things which you are focusing upon, sir, in your day-to-day life, like as an author, as a person? What are those things?
So, everybody has their own genre and signature style. My style, I think, has a couple of characteristics about it. One, there are many authors, as you have commented, who write, and especially many authors who write in English. There are many great authors who write in English. But I am, I think, the first author who writes in English using classic Indic literary principles. And that's something that's very important to me, that the literary principles I be true to them, I be authentic to our great culture, great civilization. That's number one. Number two, people have commented that my protagonists are women, that I'm very concerned about feminine empowerment. And yeah, there is some truth to that. I do come from Kashmir, the land of women. Okay, so those two things are certainly true in terms of my signature style of writing. Okay, but ultimately, what do I hope that the reader will get after reading the stories that I write. And my hope is that they get two things. One, that after they have read the story, they will see the world in a slightly different way. That in some way, their perception of the world will change because they will see things in the story. Just like when you travel in life, and you go to different parts of the world, you don't see the world in the same way. That's number one. Number two, that they will see themselves in a different way, that they will change in some way, and they will become stronger, better human beings who can enjoy life more fully. I'm very concerned about one thing, which in India we believe that when anybody is born in India, our culture tells us that we are born with only one birthright, and that birthright is the freedom to be all we can be. And so my stories are helping people lead the full life, become able to enjoy the full life. So yeah, those are some of the things that I write for, and I hope that readers who read my books can experience.
And my last question of to you of this podcast is like, what are your advices for the upcoming authors? Like, many authors gonna see you as an inspiration because learning. You have a couple of things from what I think. The first one is a life experience, which very few people have, and the second thing, you are constantly into something which is a complete passion of yours. So what are the couple of things which you would like to advise to upcoming authors, and like we can say advice from someone who is really passionate and really interested into writing?
Yeah, so I would say that even the word experience, everything that you're experiencing starts with observing. You have to become a better observer with all of your senses. And if you become a better observer of the world around you, then you will discover that the world will reveal magical things to you. And in that process of intense, focused observation, there will be revelations in the smallest things. And if you were to just stare at the cup of tea that you take in the morning, and you just stare at that cup of tea, suddenly, you know what? You'll start getting inspired. I think the best advice for would-be authors, that's a line from the poet Rumi. Rumi says, sell knowledge, buy imagination. Too many authors are trying to put out information. You don't need that. You can go to Google for that. But just observe, experience, and then start imagining and storing.
Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this inspiring and lovely conversation with Rakesh K. Kaul, sir. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. आप जस्ट Amazon पे जाए, वहाँ पे सर्च करें राकेश के कॉल, सर की तीनों बुक्स आ जाएंगी. जरूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने जानने वालों के साथ, चाहने वालों के साथ जरूर शेयर करें. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your thought. It was my honor to be able to host you today.
Thank you, Gaurav. It was my pleasure, and we'll talk again. Take care. Bye.
Definitely. Thank you so much.